This is Ricky Sayer and Ben Feldman. We're here talking to Ben Barnett, a presidential candidate here at Harriton High School.
Greetings, Harriton.
Okay.
So Ben, why don't we get started with the interview? First, could you tell us about it yourself?
Yeah, well, my name is Ben Barnett, if you didn't already know that, and I want to be your next student council president. I've been student council sergeant at arms for this past year, and I've been in student council since sophomore year, and I participated in student council 7th and 8th grade. And that's a little bit about myself and my student council history.
Okay, what have you learned this year being a student council officer?
That's a great question, Ricky. Throughout my year being a student council officer, I've made decisions next to the president this entire year with Willie Marks. I've shadowed for countless hours through the Mr. Harriton process. And I've learned how to coordinate and organize events, as well as be a leader in the Harriton school community, and also organize meetings for the student council body as a whole.
So Ben, you've been a student council officer, of course. In internal planning, I'd like to know what issues you've solved to make the council better.
Perfect question. In the internal planning committee, one of our main responsibilities is to organize the pep rallies. And in the past years, we've had 2 pep rallies, and the pep rallies this year have gone they've gone pretty well in my opinion, with guest appearances from Latin Club making the most influential roles in our pep rally. But also, this year we're planning on having a 3rd pep rally, which incorporates the Wing Bowl, which I will be endorsing and bringing back. So in recent years, we haven't had 3 pep rallies. And as internal planning committee and the sergeant at arms and the leader of that committee, I have created 3 pep rallies this year.
Great. So to further off your student council experience, what makes you qualified to be our president?
Well, I think I'm very qualified to be our president. The shadowing is a big deal. I've made some sacrifices to work with Willie Marks throughout the Mr. Harriton experience.
Talk about those sacrifices.
The sacrifices of Mr.
Yeah.
Harriton? Well, I've donated most of my time and sacrificed some sports in order to be part of the Mr. Harriton process and be a good candidate to raise even more money than we raised this year. I want to raise the bar next year to $25,000, and I have many plans to go about that.
So you really value what you do in council.
I extremely value council. I think it's great.
So Ben, do you think that it's important that in this election you're the only person in any race with experience as a head of student council?
I think that's one of the most important factors. Experience really matters, and I've had a lot of hours next to Willie Marks making decisions. Willie Marks is our president, and great president. Learned many things from him, taken numerous notes about how to lead the school next year, given if you so choose to elect me into office. And I feel like the experience is the most important factor in this race. Other candidates just don't have the experience that I do. I was there every single day, well, most of the days. The ones I missed, the very few that I missed at the Mr. Harriton auditions.
So going off of that, what do you feel about how your experience working for Mr. Harriton helps to do it next year or helps to make it a better show?
Well, I think the major key for that is you have to see how to lead the participants of Mr. Harriton, because sometimes they can go off track and it can get very hectic sometimes. And also throughout the entire ad process, the many various different aspects that go into Mr. Harriton, you need to know them through and through. And I can seriously say I've learned those throughout this experience.
Mr. Harriton raised a record amount of money this year. What do you think council can do in future years to raise even more money?
Well, in future years, I plan on next year having a $25,000, us raising $25,000. And my plan to go about that is a telethon, and we also have to get our canning license to go out in Suburban Square and can around for money. I know this is going to be hard.
What is canning for money?
It's like, you ever seen Penn State, the people of Penn State, they can for thon? It would be similar to that. You just go out in shifts, maybe on the weekends, and we would get our canning license. But the main point being is the telethon. I feel like the telethon can raise a bunch of money, where the student council committee would sit, make numerous calls, and ask for donations. And furthermore, I think ad day has to be, we have to bring all of our student council participants into ad day and make it mandatory, because we raised a couple $1,000s this year from ads alone in the playbill, which I, along with my Megan Rapuano, we both worked on that ad bill, playbill.
Speaking of speaking of students in council and how much is involved, there's been talks this year about possibly making council smaller next year. Do you think that that's a good idea?
Well, I think the council size this year is pretty effective, and I think if everybody's doing their job and contributing their weight to the council, then I think everybody who does that should be allowed in. Council is a club for the students, by the students.
Great. So going off of your experience as a student council officer into what you'd like to do, you've already briefly touched on the telethon, some of your goals. I'd like to know, what do you think is the biggest issue that students at Harriton High School face?
I think the biggest issue students at Harriton High School face is more of a sense of community in the school, and I think by bringing more pep rallies and more events, maybe possibly a spring fair that I'm also campaigning upon, these events will bring us together and make us more of a family. I think that's one of the most important aspects of the school.
To go off of that, if you think that's the biggest issue that students face, do you think that your experience as an internal planning committee chair would help you to achieve that goal?
Of course, all of the pep rallies and the extensive work on organizing activities and more school-related activities would really come into play when going about planning these new events.
What about beyond council this year? And this year we've seen a few more events here at Harriton. We've had International Night. We had the second year of the Talent Showcase. We've had a rap slam concert. What do you think council can do to help promote those events and help give Harriton more sense of community? Do you think it should all be council, or do you think it should be a lot of really different clubs here at Harriton?
Well, I think all clubs and all members of Harriton should come together and come to these events. But I think student council as a whole has a responsibility to endorse these events and come support them, given that they don't have any other previous engagements that they needed to get through on that given night. But I think that student council plays a pivotal role in the school community.
So, going off of that, I'd like to know, what do you think is the goal of student council, or what should it be if it isn't this year?
I think the goal of student council next year is to take the opinion of the student body and hear the student body. Because one of the main problems we have is that the student body their entirety of the voice doesn't get to the student council co-chairs, to the student council officers. We need to make it so their opinions are more accessible to us.
How do you do that?
How do we do that? That's a great follow-up question. In order to do that, we could. I've thought about this briefly, but it had some controversy in the past. Created another herd group called the Word, where people could actually give their input on student council, and it would be basically student council. We've had the Curd in the past, Ricky, that you've made.
I didn't create the Curd. I created the Rerd.
The Rerd, the Ricky herd.
Yeah.
But we just need a better sense.
He has a lot of followers.
He does have a lot of followers, and we also need to create. We need to let it be known that student council meetings in the LGI are open to everybody. Many people at Harriton don't know that. People can come, they can listen, they can give their input, and we need to further endorse that and get more people to come to the meetings.
You just mentioned Facebook, but something that I've noticed that here at Harriton, especially the freshmen, aren't using Facebook. What other means of and there's just less and less of people using Facebook here at Harriton. What would you do? So what would you do then to get out the word in a different way? What do you think is the next way we as Harriton students should be getting the word out about the different activities here at Harriton?
Well, to get the word out, other than Facebook, which I think most freshmen have. I do, Ricky. I think most people do, but to give another alternative, I think it would be sending out school-wide emails, maybe once a week, once a month. We already get emails every morning about the lunch late bird specials, which are great news. And I think that sending out school-wide emails would actually be very beneficial for the whole student body.
So, Ben, what clubs are you in this year, and how do you think that any of this experience in any of these clubs would help you be president?
I'm in the Speak Up Club. I'm also a freshman mentor. And I feel like both of those clubs are reflect leadership roles. The freshman mentor, to be exact. I've been a freshman mentor for 2 years, 3 years, classroom mentor. And Speak Up is a great event where people can come voice their opinions, and it really helps in communication skills, to listen to other people and their inputs and take them into consideration and create your own opinions based on that.
So, Harriton, of course, is getting a new principal as Dr. Everslog is moving up to a higher position
It's a shame.
in the district. Yeah. What are your hopes for the new principal, and how do you intend to work with the new principal?
Well, from day one, I want to create a very strong relationship with the new principal. I think a principal-president relationship is vital to a good student council to get things done and to execute on promises. And I feel like I'll have no problem with any principal coming in and making friends and creating a bond that will last. Yeah.
Great. So this year, since you were on student council as an officer, how well did you work with the other members of student council, especially the other chairs of these committees?
Well, the other officers are fantastic. You know, Willie, Kobe, Jake, Noah, they're all amazing officers. And I think us as officers, we've done a great job this year, in my opinion. And co-chairs, everyone's amazing in the student council. And it's just been a fantastic opportunity. I thank the Harriton student body for voting me in last year. I've had a great experience, and I've served it well.
So, going off of this bond you've had with the other officers, do you, based on the other people who are running for various officer positions, do you think you'll be able to work well with the new officers going in, assuming you're elected?
Of course, I'm a people person, I get along with mostly everybody. I love to create new friendships, and most of the other officers that are, in the running, I know very well, and I have previous bonds with them.
So, for the candidates running for your current position right now, what do you think is the most important lesson for them, or what do you think is most important that they know about the job before they be elected?
About being an officer?
Yes, but specifically about your current position, Sergeant at Arms.
Oh, my current position, Sergeant at Arms. Well, you got to make sure the music plays every set. That's a big deal. And you also got to make sure you're on top of things. It's a big responsibility. You got to make sure you can communicate with the entire student body and get the ideas across. And you got to make sure you can successfully get clubs to join into the pep rallies and have a successful pep rally.
I'll talk to you a little bit about. I guess I'll talk a little bit about Music Friday this year because there is different than years past. You only had the internal planning. Is it true that you only had the internal planning committee doing music?
Yes, this year we actually switched from the entire student council body doing signing up for Music Friday because there was a scarcity of signups, and every week we would post the same thing, and every day the same person would go down and start the music. So this year I assigned my committee a certain set on a given day. They had about 3 sets in a 4-day cycle, and each day they would go down in their desired set or the set that they chose, and they would turn the music on, and it's gone pretty flawlessly. And when they can't make it, they just post in our group chat, and we get somebody down there to play the music, so you guys can enjoy the music on Fridays.
So, with this competition for president, there's more candidates for president this year than there were last year. How do you feel about your chances, or about your competition between some of the other candidates?
I think the competition is definitely there, but I think the most distinct factor that the student body needs to recognize is that the experience that I have in the student council. A year of experience as an officer. That's something that really sets me apart from all the other candidates.
How many years have you been in council?
I've been in council 2 years, sophomore, junior year, and 7th and 8th grade of Welsh Valley.
Why did you decide not to join the freshman year?
In the freshman year, I actually wasn't able to find the sign-ups, and I was pretty confused about that, which is also what I want to make another change for freshmen to come in, incoming freshmen. I want to make student council sign-ups more accessible because freshmen are the new age in our school. I mean, they need to be involved in our school and bring up the legacy and learn how to run the school.
So, for this campaign that you're running, what do you think are the few most important issues that you think you have a solution to? What do you think are the most important solutions you have for Harriton?
I definitely think it's school community and hearing the voice of the student body.
Okay, great.
What about some specific issues that are going on at Harriton? What do you think about things like later school start times?
Well, Ricky, later school start times is a topic that I thought a lot about. And overall, I think that most of the student body wouldn't want a later start time, but I do have a solution for later start times.
What's your solution?
My solution for later start times is to take 30 minutes off of the end of the day, which would be practices, and substitute that for 30 minutes in the beginning of the day. You would push the entire school day back 30 minutes, and the buses would still run, and you would just take the 30 minutes off at the end of the day, school practices, and simply substitute it into the beginning.
Wait, to clarify, are you saying that school should start earlier?
No, later.
Later.
At 8 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
Instead of 7:30.
Yes.
So you are in favor of later?
I'm not in favor of it. I just have a plan in case it needs to be instituted.
So, of course, you have experience in the student council in terms of getting things done. If the student council, or especially the students of Harriton High School, suddenly felt that it was more important to them that school start later, how would you go about changing school start times, knowing on how to get things done?
Well, I think I just gave my plan, but if when the student body feels that when the majority of the student body is running a democracy, and they feel that something should be changed, then we should change it. Lunch and Learn is a new thing for our school, and last year Mr. Edistar came to the officers and he gave us this idea, and we were all for it, and I think it's worked out amazingly this year.
What do you think about lunch? So you think you like Lunch and Learn?
I love Lunch and Learn.
You think anything needs to be improved about Lunch and Learn?
I think the only thing that needs to be improved for Lunch and Learn is that students need to clean up after themselves, and that's just a common courtesy to the janitors.
Some teachers have complained that Lunch and Learn, there's no way yet for them to get a student in, to make a student go to their learn. Do you think that the school should be able to make students have to go to certain learns?
The students do have to go to certain learns if they have grades below D's.
But there's no way at the moment, it's very hard for a teacher to actually do that. Do you think it should be easier for teachers to get students into learns?
Well, I think the main point of Lunch and Learn is in the name itself. It's Lunch and Learn. It's not, everybody likes to lunch and relax, but the learn aspect definitely comes first. You got to work hard to play hard. You got to work hard to get the relaxation time. And if your grades aren't coming through, you need to take care of that before.
A few final things. What do you think about, should students be able to be allowed to bring their own computer to school and use that instead of a school laptop?
Well, we're given the opportunity, and we're so grateful to have these great computers that are given to us and supplied by the school, that I think it's not necessarily a problem. But I think the problem is, I think there's more to the issue. Like, to bring your home device to the school is going to take a lot more planning and executing and fixing the servers. It's a lot more detailed than just using your school computer. I don't see why the student body would need to bring in their home device when they have a wonderful computer supplied by the school.
Do you care at all about what goes on with the district board and the strategic plan this year? Willie has gone to work with them on strategic plan issues. Do you know anything about that?
Willie has talked to me multiple times about those meetings that he attends, and I would love to attend those meetings this year. if I'm so grateful to be your student council president.
Okay. Any closing remarks?
Experience matters, Harriton, and don't forget, vote Barnett. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.